within retailers such as Auchan, all the Auchan members of the family, and as external consultant as well. And we've been knowing, like, for within the company as a retailer and as external consultant, what's basically would have been good to have when back during these years when I was working to a 7 to a 10, what tools would have been very interesting to have at the time. What mostly are interesting is the question for the commercial real estate industry globally. What are the main questions that we try to figure out for every new project? And that concern mostly every country. For every kind of retailer or consultant or commercial real estate developer, usually before taking any new investment or starting any negotiation, the first steps will be to know what will be the market size for any project in any city worldwide, or what will be the market share of a specific new project, and to be able to see whether that project fits its environment or not. All of these specific kind of services, this market size and market share calculation, we have been doing all these kind of services mostly offline until 2013 with the help of standard GIS system like MapInfo, ArcGIS, all other kind of, most of you guys. The issues were all the time the same. We have to create a database of population information about the social, the economics, about the competition, the road network, and so on for every new project. It takes a long time to create any new report, a new scenario. When you create something, you have to present to the client. So you have to make any PowerPoint, a new report that will fit that specific client needs. It requires that you have in your company very high qualified GIS specialist. And the last thing is you can't scale the business efficiently. You will have 2, 3, 4, 5 specialists in your business. If you want to cover like 10 or 20 or 50 more clients, you just can't organize that efficiently with the standard GIS systems. So for that, starting from 2013, we start to screen both technologies, data sources, and partners that could have been able to help us create a web service with a clear KPI. And these KPI were the following. We wanted to perform a new market size study in less than 1 minute. And the second KPI, we wanted to create a catchment area analysis with the gravitational model based on Huff formula within 5 minutes. While usually this kind of service and this kind of studies were taking between half a day and sometimes a month to perform in different companies. I've given on the presentation some example of sources that we can see here regarding what informations are important for our studies and calculations, whether that be about the population that lives permanently in specific regions, whether there's going to be active population based on the mobile phone users, whether there's going to be a competition database, where there's going to be road networks, and so on and so on. So we've been screening all of these data sources for Russia at first and then for the rest of the countries that we cover right now. And we've been sourcing as well technologies that would be allowing us to reach these KPIs. So we screened about, starting from 2013, about 10 companies that work into the web GIS industry. And we tested basically all of them during about 6 months. And we started at the end. We finished to choose one company, CartoDB, to start our project with. The rest of the technology is mostly different APIs that we use for reaching different parts of the system. What the results are, and before we go live to show how it looks like as a web application, we wanted to have something simple to use and that anybody in a company could be understand. Starting from, of course, the marketing managers, the analysts into the company, all the directors, and even the shareholders. When they want to control something, they should have something that is really easy to use. So for the design and for the data organizations, we gather two different levels of organization. First is what you see on the screen. It's the regional level. So it's all of the regions in Russia, Ukraine, all of these different cities that are covered by the system right now. And all of them, we gather information about official statistics at this regional level. On the second level, we gather information based on every lowest available administrative division that we can find in a specific country or city. So that could be the different regions in different areas of the city of Madrid here. That could be the different subzones in Paris, in London, in any city that the system is covering. And we have to organize these data and for each of these polygons find the right official statistics that we're going to be using. That covers numbers of population, the salaries level, the density, numbers of person by households. All of these data are required to be organized into the system. When we have these informations, we gather basically in the system today. We cover about, as told you, about 40 countries, 3.76 cities, mostly of them in Russia and Ukraine, but about 44 cities in all of continents. We will show live what it's covering. About 400 million persons are covered into the system today. To give you an example of the size of the database, it covers already into a CartoDB enterprise plan. At start, we got the free plan to start with. We passed very quickly to the Coronelli at the time, the paying plan, and then after 1 year, we started to get the enterprise plan to host all our database. And today, the database is about 200 data sets into the systems, more than 5 gigabytes of data, 10 millions of lines of data, all of information covering the socioeconomics and the points of interest and so on and so on. To give you an example as well for the points of interest, the food stores that we're covering in 40 countries, it's more than 21,000 stores and in 650 brands. So that's pretty large data. What we hosted today, I wouldn't call it like big data, but that's pretty large data anyway. And our partners, API systems, they provide us that big data that we need to organize the whole thing together. The results that we are and the reports that we are performing through the system are based today on two main directions. First, like the reporting for stock analysis. The main issue, we're going to see that directly into the live demonstration. But the main topic is to just answer to that simple question, what's around? What's the stock around population? That could be population living permanently around location in Almaty in Kazakhstan. How many persons from the mobile phone operators, whether we have a deal agreed on that country or not. How many competition we have in GLA if we're speaking about commercial centers, and what's the market size of that specific location if everybody living in that zone will be purchasing into a commercial center, for that example, with this or that specific characteristics. So it's working very interesting both for the expansion plans and as well for the auditing of existing point of sales. The second module that we built, which is called the catchment area analysis, is based on the gravitational model of theory that we've been enhancing through adaptation of specific consumer behavior relevant to every kind of retail and every kind of retail format and every city. Basically, what we're looking at into these projects is what share of the market a specific conception will take into account a specific competition into a zone and taking into account a specific consumer behavior. So that instrument is pretty powerful to define multiple scenario analysis and see whether a specific project will fit a specific location, and whether we can phase it, whether we can test different conceptions, whether we can test different level of competitions, whether they are present today or not, different level of congestion, and so on and so on. The key benefits for that specific system, Geomatrix, first of all, is all the retailers that we're working with outsource most of the creation of the database. That's huge work all the time, and we do that for them. The second thing is they don't have to run very qualified GIS specialists in the company, or they can have specific ones for specific needs. But for this basic reporting, the system can be used and by anybody in the company. It was only 20 minutes to train a person. Every report is created in less than 1 minute with a ready-to-print PDF report, so it helps a lot with optimizing the process into the companies. We can provide predictive analysis for every scenario. So in like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you can analyze every scenario for one specific project. And interesting as well topic, it helps the company control the work of the marketing and expansion departments with tightened control, what we call usually against the internal and external corruption. So the figures that the report is doing, you cannot play with them, you cannot adjust them lower on or higher to answer some specific needs. So let's start to the demonstration. So the tool, there is no need for any installation. It's working with major browsers. Usually Chrome is working pretty good for every print related reports. So what you see here are the main cover. That's the first visualization part, where we can see all the different regions with their characteristic, population, salary, density, and stuff for all the countries that are covered by the system. So apart from Ukraine and Russia, we first are covering one major city for one or two major cities for every country. So to start with, I would suggest to go to Toronto. So in every, as I mentioned in the presentation, in every country, we present information about the official database of the population for all of these specific regions. So we get information all the time from official data and official statistics bodies to be able to work. So you get all of these different regions that you can see on the left pane from that specific region. We can work on specific data sets, specific density or population, salaries. It works for every of them. Apart from the database, the statistics, we gather information about the points of interest. So for that demonstration, there will be data regarding the local competition, the food competition that we gather in all of these countries. So let me just set up with the local players and the federal players, depending on the countries. So usually all informations are coming from official sources as well, the websites of the retailers. So we have all the time like updated data. So a part of the information that you see here, we can play with creating a new scenario. So let's say we want to build a new, let's say, store in a specific location. So in that locations, our clients can choose from specific formats of stores what will best fit for their specific for that specific location. So it can be used by using analytical data of a specific client, and they will be used only for their needs. So let's say for that we're using like a Carrefour, whether they would be interesting to enter a Canada market tomorrow. Every profile of clients will be composed of 3 characteristics: the average basket, the numbers of purchase a year clients perform into that city, and the share of the population that buys into that specific market, these specific goods or services. Then we use an API provided by here.com company to define the isochron around a specific location, or an isoline if we're speaking about kilometers. But if we're speaking about the isochron, we can draw like a 10-15 minutes zone around location, either by foot, either by car, with a specific day and hour, just to be sure we can play with a different scenario with a congestion or not. Then we can use information about competitions, whether it's like open, it's construction, it's project. We can filter data about competition by specific parameters, and we can generate the first kind of reports. So the reports are generated into a new page with the logotype of the clients. There will be the email and all informations. So the isochron that goes through the API through here.com and comes back to us. And the results are already in. So it takes like, for that, 10-15 seconds. So you get the isochron described into the reports, all information about the competition that we choose here. You can modify every parameter of that specific report, apply for a new report, and you get the calculation about the population that lives permanently here, active populations if we gather an API or CSV data from mobile phone operators, the competition, the consumer behavior of that specific clients that buy into this stuff into that city, to calculate numbers of traffic, number of checks that can generate that zone, and the potential turnover of that zone, plus the list of the competition, and so on. And the report is ready to be printed out, and to help our clients here to make the first screening about whether that location fits or not their internal KPI, and to say whether we need to go further into analysis that specific location or not. So reports, they're already pre-organized, pre-designed to just be printed out. So we can calculate a new report here saying I want to have like a walking distance without filters, and apply for new reports. So the market size is a very easy tool. It helps very much retailers and developers and consultants to screen the first batch of projects they have, or the first information that they will be interesting to analyze for the existing stores when you audit what's around your locations. But the question is, that kind of report says we have 500,000 persons living to that zones. All the competition will influence the business, and I will lose some part of the market. So for that, we have a second kind of report called the catchment areas. For that, we can define the commercial conception of that specific store. Say we're going to build like 9,000 square meters stores into that zone. We want to analyze only the competition above a specific size, and we can generate a new report for that. So the same calculation is done at start. We create the isochrone around the location. We just generate not all the competition, but part of it because of the filters. And then we're going to start the calculation of the catchment area. It will start soon. It's starting here. Here, what we'll do, in order to answer the question, what will be my market share? We have to define first a list of origins. So that's all of these small grids that you see here. It's 400 meters zones. When we calculate data by population in each of them, that's the origin. Based on this data, origin and destinations, there will be all the potential stores that are located into that zone, plus the new one that we are building here, the new conceptions. The system will calculate the probability that whether I'm living into that location, I will visit that or this or all of these potential stores, higher or lower as a probability. So the sum of probability of every potential directions will be equal to 100%. That's basic health model at start. But one question occurs here. When I have into that zones, let's say I have 17 stores that fits my filters. The usual consumer living into that zones says the following thing. I have, let's say, $1,000 a month to spend on food goods for my family. And this $1,000, I will spend it not on 17 stores, on 200 stores. I will spend only on the 2 or 3 or 4 main interesting for me stores based on whether they are located near from me and whether they are attractive as a sales area or as an attractivity parameter that the client can define as well. So we're going to have to define for each project and each kind of retail the usual numbers of stores a basic customer is visiting during a month, let's say, and to define for each basic zone, recalculate the 3 best for that scenario that will be that I will be choosing if I live best stores if I'm living here to go visit and shop in, and to recalculate this potential. So we have a vision here that the zone is pretty wide, but there is the zones in the far east here which are not covered by the color range. It means that these zones, from these zones, I won't have any business into that specific location because they have, my conception here is arriving lower than 4th position. So it means that it's excluded from the catchment area. And from every zone that we see here, the darker green will say that it's going to be the zones where I will have most of the business. I'm, let's say, leader on the markets, more than 1,500 persons, and then gradually getting down based on influence competitions and the distance to cover to that specific location. So one is a graphic representation that helps to see where it's going to be my zone and when I will be powerful. The second one is the calculation of the efficiency. This 38%, it says that that will be my numbers of clients that conception can gather, and that will be number of households that will chop regularly into my my store. And based on these figures, I can define a more logical business, a number of checks for that location, a number of turnover for that location. All the figures you see here, they are for the demonstrations. It doesn't reflect any Carrefour business in Canada, whether they have it or not, just for demonstration. So that's basically the second kind of reports that we been created through Geomatrix with the CartoDB platform, and it can be working in every region for every kind of business. So it works for we have clients working with the commercial centers like IKEA in Russia. We have food stores. We have medical laboratories working with that, jewelry stores, DIY stores, consultants working with the soft as well to provide their clients. So it's pretty wide. We build application to be like an universal platform to be used in every country and every kind of retail. Of course, it doesn't answer all the questions. There is a lot of new models that we will building on top of that. But as a start and to process a lot of data and a lot of information into the usual workload of our clients, it helped them a lot to save time. I'm almost done. So it could be make another presentation of any other city. Let's say we're going Thailand. So it works, basically all of this calculation works in every country. As soon as we gather data into the system and we gather all information required, we can build the same kind of reports. Working either on a small report for the small food zone, if we need that, or working on the most interesting catchment area analysis for largest projects. So I don't have yet, but let's use the Vietnam one, just for the sake of the presentation. So that's going to be for walking distance, same kind of created for every country. So we have today 40 countries covered, apart from Russia and Ukraine. And gradually, with the help of our clients that sign on the systems, we will create more countries and more geography into the covered countries. And to show you that, coming back on that, so that's the coverage we have right now. So we have about 10 new countries when we will adding to the system in the next months, and extending in some countries the geography to answer what our clients are needing. And this is part of the clients that are working with us. So it's large company, large developers, smallest one, individual consultants that need the help to help their clients to promote better reports and help them to minimize the risk. Because most of the time when we are publishing information about reports of some real estate project, all of these issues linked with the internal battles into the companies or the external pressures, it will impact on the final profitability of every new location, new stores, new commercial center that will be created. So that's why that's pretty important. And what we think is to make these studies more open, more understandable, and to help, let's say, all the players in the market have one picture of the solutions. So that's what we try to help with that systems. And that's it. So if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. You can write the question on the chats. You can ask them. We'll publish the result of the webinar on a website. That's the thing. And the presentation itself, basically, we'll try to figure out a way either to publish on a website, either to provide to CartoDB to send to you directly. There is already a couple of webinar presentation in Russian language in the website of Relos, but the English one would be that one. Thanks for the question. No, the statistics we are preparing ourselves for all the countries. So we screen all official statistics. In some country, I would say it's easier than some others, where there is a lot of open data accessible. For some countries, we have to contact directly the local statistics official to gather part of the data they have. And sometimes they don't have much, to be honest. And then we have to modelize part of the data ourselves, based. I can show you some samples based on the digitalization of buildings in the cities. We have to define the number of floors, the typology of every buildings, whether they are living or not living, whether it's going to be one family living or not, and to gather this data based on photo satellites, based on street view, whether they are available or not, and with the official statistics, the lowest level that we can find, and we gather all that into the Geomatrix. So basically, to answer your questions, you don't have to care about that. We'll provide all information already into Geomatrix. The only information that will be required to be answered by for units will be to answer for every specific format of brands that you have, to answer only 3 questions: the name of it, the average basket, the percentage of population that buys this kind of goods or services, and the average frequentation a year. And this data will be only available to you through your login and password. So it's the only thing that you need to provide. And some clients even don't need the information. They just need just like simple calculation of population and competition around the zone. So it's for the second plan, we have the business plan. These data are required. For the first base plan, you don't have to provide this information. You're welcome, Bruno. Okay, so if there is no more question for today, you can send us by email your question. We will be with pleasure to answer them. And let's have a nice day for you today, and I hope we will contact you soon. Have a nice day. Bye bye. My pleasure.